What is up? Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos, broadcasting to you live from Phoenix, Arizona. Today we are discussing the Abby and Libby case out of Delphi, Indiana. A few points that I'd like to bring up today. Do you guys remember a conversation that was discovered between Abby and Libby? Not quite sure what app was being used or what devices they were using, but it was um, shortly before they were murdered. And they mentioned a guy by the name of Ricky. So I plan to debunk that, hopefully. But let me know if you guys know what I'm referring to. The Robert Fortson and that whole situation. Want to get your opinion on some things. Kind of want to see where you're at as far as would somebody really hurt themselves over some crime scene photos that they have absolutely zero connection to? Maybe it wasn't connected to it. But I think there might be something I'm missing there. A mental health element. So I'm hoping you guys can help me understand that. And then also Abby's phone. That's how I'm gonna refer to it. I mean, she obviously had a phone, right? All she needed was some old device and a hotspot. That's it. And she's online. What's up, Dank? Christine, Jill, Chloe, my guy Don, good to see you. Patricia, Jody Lynn, CJK, She Warrior, Purdue, what's up? Good to see you. Bird Blue, I'm well. I hope you guys are doing well. Cindy, Tech Death, what up? Piper, what up? What's up, Brad? Happy Saturday to you, my friend. Chloe said, I think it was a classmate. What's up, Mustang? Solar Chef Steph, what up? Happy Saturday. It's a me. What's up? Nana, good to see you. Lisa, Jari, good to see you. Good evening, Sparky. It's kind of another thing I wanted to talk about. I almost titled the live stream Any Day Now. Because I think he's going to plead out. And it could be anywhere between now and the day before trial. But honestly, it could be any day now. He's been incarcerated for 2 years. I think I think the word is acclimated. I think he's transitioned over. think he realizes he still has a future in prison. I mean, look at the happy face killer. He's pen pals with Rex Hewerman. I mean, how is that even possible? Can write letters to his grandkids in the future. Brad says everyone is in the house. Cindy, I pray for it. Hey, what's up, Rescue? Zoe, Audrey. Good to see everybody. Okay. So it doesn't seem like all of you know what I'm talking about. So let me just show it to you. Okay, so whoever took this screenshot, and I have the whole conversation. It's just a normal teenage conversation. What are you up to? You know, a little bit of gossip here and there. What guy do you like at school? Are you coming over? Can you come over? I'm cleaning my room. They do mention Logan Holder. They also mention some number that keeps calling and left a message, a number they're not familiar with, in the same sentence as mentioning Logan. I thought that was interesting. But also, they mentioned somebody by the name of Ricky. And this conversation took place just about a few weeks before they passed. Let's see here. Libby's on the left. I would do Messenger, but that's okay too. Abby says, I would do Messenger too, but I deleted it for more space. And I think she had a tablet at home. Are you mad at me? Do you believe her instead of me? Libby says, hell no. I can't stand her, to be honest. She rubbed it in my face that she was dating Ricky when she found out I still liked him. And besides, you are one of my best friends. I would pick you always. And then, kind of during this part where she's mentioning Ricky, she keeps talking about money. So I think it kind of alluded to Ricky having money, and if she's with Ricky, then, you know, as you see her, good, laugh out loud, but you need to buy me one of these. And I think prior to this, there was another mention of her being rich or something. What's up, Red Queen? Phil Bond. Good to see everybody. What's up, Frank Meister? Nana? Camaro, what's up? So this is what I was referring to here. So people thought the talk about money, the name Ricky, and this happening so close to the time that they were killed, it was easy to speculate. Who is this Ricky? What's up, Miss Thang? Cynthia, good to see you.
interest in this case, we know, has drawn people from all around the world.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and debunk that being Richard Allen with a quick video here.
World. It's really incredible.
Can you guys hear
but
that?
For the first time, we're hearing from a young man with a personal connection to the case.
So, Lauren, I had a chance to Zoom with Ricky Martinez here in Indiana. Here's a picture of Ricky with Libby German. He was also friends with Abby Williams. They attended school together. In response to their deaths, he decided to enroll at Vincennes University here in Indiana to study criminal justice. Why? The freshman wants to become a detective and help find the killer if the case is not solved by the time he graduates.
For me, I just want to see that person finally behind bars. The fact of not being able to see them or talk to them anymore really just breaks me every time. Every day, they're always crossing my mind, no matter what, every day. And for everyone in our community, it's always a hard time for us during this time. Yeah, it really is.
A special young man, Ricky wants to work for law enforcement either in Delphi or Lafayette when he graduates from Vincennes. And tonight,
So there it is. That's most likely who they were referring to. Hey, Anna. Yep, and that's him right there. Well, tell him break a leg. Thank you, guys. Taya Chippy, California. You be safe out there, Don. Safe travels, my friend. Yeah, that's true, Chloe. It's about 3 weeks of back and forth communication between Abby and Libby that took place just about the month in between the month prior to them passing. La vida loca. My crazy life. What's going on, Ziggy? Colette, how are you? Witch, what's up? Ricky, it's cool this tragedy led to this young man's calling in life at such an early age. I think Abby and Libby were also going to similar classes. That's what kind of led us to the junior detectives theory, remember? Them possibly luring somebody to the bridge, thinking that they were going to get him on camera. Not really knowing what they got themselves into. It's just a theory. With them going to criminology classes, them being harassed online, Libby's tenacity and her really not liking bullies. I thought maybe they could have hatched a plan like that. Welcome in, Charlotte. My two daughters turned 13 and 14, and I'm blown away at what teens do these days. Yeah, think about what you don't know about. And I'm a nosy parent, but I also know that I was able to get away with a lot. Yeah. It's like a tunnel into your child's room in a way. There's a lot of crime through gaming and the Discord app. A lot of grooming going on. Games like Roblox. And these sickos are patient too. Remember Keegan Kline? He had a alter ego that was what, 13 years old. He would use that 13-year-old character to groom these girls. And then he would say, "Oh, now that we're best friends, let me introduce you to my creepy brother or my father." But the father is Keegan or Kagan, whatever. Yeah, they could have been sleuthing. I mean, they were in criminology classes. They were being harassed online. Libby hated bullies. And her friend actually knew Kagan Klein. Like he was a family friend. So she may have known that who he was. Kind of stringing him along, you know? Who was that talking about the 2-year-old bond hearing? What's up, Brett? Good to see you. Has anyone else heard Richard Allen's parents bought their house? I don't know if it's just a rumor. I don't know. I think it was some Hispanic name last time I looked. Well, some of these games, Brad, you can communicate. Like they can ask you questions and they can try to talk to you over a microphone. It's like, hell no, you got to turn all that shit off. What's up, Ruckus? Where are you guys now about whether Richard Allen knew them or it was random? Well, that kind of ties into Abby's phone. I mean, is that where the discussion happened? And also, they were up late the night before. So, what were they doing up into the early morning hours? We've heard that multiple times. So, that, I mean, that's pretty much a fact, right? So, what are they doing up so late and then up by 10 a.m.? I don't know about you, but most teenagers will sleep in after staying up like that until about noon at least. So, why are they up at 10 and jumping at the first opportunity to get to the trails? We know they had friends there. But what happened that morning? That early morning, late at night? Who were they talking to? Were they using Abby's phone? You know, a lot of folks want to dismiss that, like, oh, well, they never really planned to go to the trails. It was just spontaneous. We don't know that. They were up until the early morning hours doing what? They were on probably on social media, right? What's up, Lisa? Peggy O. Well, we can only assume that it was probably Keegan Klein, somebody like that. She told Max Snowberger, some guy's harassing me. 19-year-old. I think Keegan Klein was 19 at the time. So she was asking for help about it and then just said, oh, never mind, I got it. So that kind of fits back into the junior detective theory. Oh, we got it. We came up with a plan. We know who it is. And he ain't going to do shit. And that's kind of how Kagan seems to be whenever he talks, kind of like, hey, I don't want to get involved. I was more I guess happy enough with the whole fantasy world. He never would meet them in public. I don't know if that's true. That could be his half truth. He wants us all to think he's pathetic, right? Kind of like Richard Allen. But in reality, he's at the crime scene committing the murders. But yeah, Peggy, I'm pretty sure it was Keegan Klein. Maybe. Welcome in, Boston Christian. What's up, Motive? Motive. I don't know, man. I'm hiding. Do everything in the morning and at night. It's getting pretty bad. It's me. Something had to have been going on with the phone. Something's going on. Who's to say they weren't planning all night and talking to somebody? Being lured. I just don't understand. If this was some kind of spontaneous lone wolf, guy having a bad day and he's triggered for whatever reason, he's not going to be layered up. Yeah, he might have a gun. Yeah, he might have his knife. But why is he backing in? And why is he taking that risk the middle of the day after being seen by like 4 different people? He's backed in at the CPS building. He's concealing his face. So how do we know he's not pissed off about something that happened that night, the night before? And what if all the information about that is on Abby's phone? That doesn't mean her parents bought her phone. That doesn't mean she had cell phone service. That means, did she find some old phone and just connect it to the internet? She could have tethered to Libby's phone. She could have accessed any Wi-Fi. People say, why didn't he take Libby's phone? Well, maybe he took the only phone that he cared about. What's up, Peace Train? Untraceable. Yep. Just like the whole Shannon Gilbert situation. Right? You heard the men in the background of her 911 call laughing at her, knowing that it was a burner phone. They wouldn't be able to trace it. Yeah, maybe something like that. Prepaid. Who knows? Maybe even communicating via the messenger. I don't know about. Could you make phone calls back then? I know you can call on the app. Jari says, I think he knew them and that Abby was the target and Libby the collateral damage. I don't know. I feel like if Richard Allen's the killer, he's the bridge guy, which I believe that he is. I think they're going to be able to prove that. As long as that bullet is a match and the experts agree, 100% it's him. But I think he used Abby. He used her to get to Libby. So I think that's how it was all possible. She was having a really, really hard time on that bridge, I think. May have been her first or second time. She wants to be a good friend. Why are they so motivated if, it appears that she's afraid to cross that bridge. She's struggling. It's taking them forever. That's why Libby's already off the bridge, videoing, halfway down the trail already. It's because Abby was having a hard time. That's how he was able to get his hands on her and demand things from Libby. If you don't do the things that I'm telling you to do, I'm going to hurt your friend. And I guarantee that he did. Yeah, I think that was from the night before, too. Yeah, the John Blaze. Yeah, that was mentioned in Hannah Shakespeare's documentary. Anna says, in lots of ways, today's youth are real good kids, but it bothers me the way couples hook up, basically live together for short times, and then get new partners. No idea about long term commitment. Um, Before I forget, also, what about the Meet Me app? What do you guys think about that? We kind of forgot about the Meet Me app. They talk about that a lot with Kegan Kline and all of his documents. So apparently he was using that app quite a bit. Who's to say that that's not where Richard Allen is tied in through an app like that? Because if you go on to the app, it's like groups. It's all these private groups. Maybe they were in one of these private groups together. And then the mention of Yubo, which I think you can actually live stream from. That could be maybe the snuff aspect of it all. What's up, D? Welcome in. Good to see you. Purdue with the scrub report. Friendly reminder, please do not be scrubby and give Sleuth a big thumbs up to show your support. Thank you in advance for your help. Thanks, Purdue. D with the 22-month flex. Thank you. And somebody was just gifted a membership by It's Me. Thank you. Charlotte, I hope so. I learned one thing, you can't just assume, but you hope so. And they most likely, yes. He indexes above 105 daily. Damn. That's brutal. I think the offender planned to bully the girls into an obscene act. I agree. They may have panicked after. When they resisted and ran, he panicked. I think the unthinkable to save his own skin. Well, I just don't. If it wasn't for the bridge, he wouldn't have been able to grab Abby. And if it wasn't for him being able to grab Abby, he wouldn't have been able to control them. Or vice versa, right? We always hear the talk about one of the girls didn't leave each other's side. And I think that's why. If you don't do what I say, I'm going to hurt your friend. And I think he did. And I think that's when everything ended up on the opposite side of the creek. Was at that point. And then he no longer needs to use her friend to get what he wants because she's not listening. So I think he just killed her right there. And the moving and the staging is him coming back to that original crime scene and consolidating in a more secluded area. And him covering the girls, I don't know. There seems to be a personal aspect to all that. After a brutal crime. But it could simply be to conceal them. I mean, it was effective, but I think it may have served both purposes. I don't have time to finish dressing or doing what I want to do because people are starting to show up. But I definitely don't want to see what I just did. You still have a little bit of conscience left. You covered the bodies. It's not ruins, but we know that you covered them and redressed them and staged them and did all of this because there's some kind of a personal connection, and there's something in the killer's mind that was almost forcing him to do that. What's up, Peggy? Could it be possible KK was using the pictures he received from various girls and posing as these girls to blackmail other pervs? Yes, that's what Schillmiller was doing. I think it is possible. The timeline is just very strange. It's almost as if Richard Allen knew, the girls would be there. He gets there at 1:30. And that's about the same time they found out they were getting a ride there. So it's like the moment they announce it, boom, he's there. Prepared. All right, let's kind of transition over to the Robert Fortson stuff. I want to get your opinion on that. I don't understand how a guy could take his own life, and we're talking about a family man, over crime scene photos. So either it's unrelated, or I'm just not understanding the whole how you kind of get there. If you're dealing with maybe mental health, depression, you panic, the walls feel like they're closing in on you. I just don't understand it. If you have no connection to these girls whatsoever, how does it get to that point? So I'm looking for help from you guys, maybe some of you experts in the medical field. Maybe you can help me with this. Maybe there's a PTSD element. I know this gentleman was military, but I don't understand. I don't get that part. To me, I feel like there may be a conspiracy there. Maybe there's something more to that. All right. Before I read this, we're going to take a quick little break. I can already feel my throat getting dry, and this is pretty long. But there's going to be a lot of good points in this article, and it'll kind of branch off into other discussions. Okay, so give me about a minute, 2 minutes. Alrighty. Catch up on the chat real quick. Yeah, that's right, Audrey. You really don't need to buy a phone, though. I mean, there's so many just random cell phones laying around. That's gross, Anna. It's a good point. Where did he learn? Very well could be, but I wonder if he was enraged over something. I think it got bad on the bridge well. Why is he so motivated? Man, I really struggle with that. Why is he so layered up? And that's kind of why I use this thumbnail. It's kind of how the witnesses described him. So the dude's got a hoodie up, a jacket with its own hood on the back, most likely, over the hoodie. and something, I don't know if it's a scarf, a bandana, or what. But the witnesses reported him with his face covered. That doesn't seem random to me. Seems very planned out. Like he knew where the girls would be and exactly when. His timing was so good that before he even got to his target and before his target even got to his planned destination, the pre planned destination, he was already walking towards them. And they hadn't even gotten there yet. There was absolutely no time to spare. And it appears he had it all mapped out. CJK says the gun, and he may have shown his knife. The gun would be enough to scare and control most people. I think it was much more. I think it was much more brutal. I wish it was that easy and fast. I just don't think that it was. Especially when you're trying to explain a lone killer and how he would be able to control these girls. If we've learned anything from Thomas Jerome Bruce, it takes a huge amount of brutality. A gun's not always going to work. It doesn't work on everybody. Could it and did it possibly? Yes. But I think it was much worse. Yeah, I don't know, Anna. I feel like Libby was most likely could be the target or both of them. I'm not sure. All right, looks like we have a 50% scrub report. So if you guys are watching, if you could just hit that like button. Every time you ring a bell, an angel gets its wings. Every time you hit the like button, a troll gets whacked back under the bridge. So who got hooked up with the membership? Peggy says 2 people in the audio recording. I think it's the same guy, 2 different tones. One is him walking up like, guys, shows him the gun. Like, now you know I'm just not some guy. Like, I'm here, I mean business. Guys, gets their attention, shows the weapon. They say he's got a gun. He grabs one of the girls because he's walked that bridge probably a million times. If what we read in the Franks memo is true about him frequenting the trails, that's probably why he's able to just walk with his hands in his pocket all nonchalant. Maybe that's why he chose that location. So he sees Abby struggling. He's able to catch up to her, grab her. Now he's in control because Olivia's not just going to bail. I mean, why is he wearing so many layers? I don't see some random guy. It just doesn't seem random. Not even a little bit. Yeah, I think they did. I think they fought back and it pissed him off. Or it happened so fast they didn't even have a chance. It's me. Is it possible it wasn't Richard Allen's first time? I don't know yet. I don't know if he did this alone. I don't know if he's just like the kidnapper and there was somebody else waiting to ambush the girls. You have Richard Allen. Maybe him and his accomplice were on the north side of the bridge. One goes down on the north side on Ron Logan's property on that trail that leads directly to the crime scene, and Richard Allen goes on the bridge. So when the girls take off running, they're met by this accomplice on the other side. Or maybe even he came stomping across the creek to help. And then together moved them over. Yeah, you never know, Anna. They could have fought. They could have been frozen completely. Charlotte says, if we would ask ourselves, what was priority for the murderer in the murder, what would be the answer? That I don't know. Like I said, he seems very motivated. I don't know. Is he pissed off about something? Is he trying to silence them? Is it random, sexually motivated, triggered by something? I just don't know. I don't know if his priority was to silence them. But if it was random, he definitely would, his priority would be to silence them. And that's most likely what happened. Random killing, and out of panic commits a brutal homicide. Chloe says Fortson was being threatened by people in the community for 24 hours straight, saying he had CP on his phone. I don't know about all that. He had passed away before I even heard his name. But I do remember people accusing those who had the photos of having CP. I know that happened. Don says, I don't get a family man, military, grown up, killing himself over a misdemeanor. Yeah, what was going on? Was he being extorted or sextorted? I don't know. I feel like there's something more to that story. Unless I'm just not grasping how somebody could feel like the world is kind of closing in on him when it really isn't. But yeah, I mean, he had his whole life ahead of him. Good looking guy, successful, professional, beautiful family. Like, so what? You had these crime scene photos. You know, you're probably going to get in trouble, maybe fired, maybe not. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that. Peggy said it's very strange all the people tied to this case dying. See, I don't buy into that conspiracy. I don't think there's much there. But this whole Robert Fortson stuff, I mean, what the hell is going on with that? It's just really hard for me to believe a man that has everything going for him over crime scene photos that he has no connection to these victims. And now we're learning about people who do a lot behind the scenes, them getting sextorted, people catfishing them, you know, trying to get them to send explicit photos. I wonder if something like that happened to that poor man. I hope it's being investigated. That's all I know. Something, unless you guys can help me understand it. Because right now it's another thing that I get hung up on. Yeah, that could be Anna. He thought it would be easy. I'll keep my face covered. I'll force them down there. They'll do what I say. And then I'll slip out of here. Didn't go that way at all, and he panicked. I could see that. Charlotte says sexual fantasy as the motivation 100%. But what about in the act itself, like how it was carried? I would have to say there was some anger there, maybe some kind of release. I always assumed the killer had mother issues. The profile that I put out originally was mentally, um, somewhat mentally impaired, which kind of fits with Elvis Fields. But we also talked about suffering from mental health issues. Now we know that that's a component with Richard Allen now. So he seems to be fitting the profile pretty good. Adopted, very quiet. Who knows what happened? Maybe he has his own trauma we'll learn about later. Everything I heard from people that grew up with him, some of the sources I was able to personally get, tell me that his adopted father was a very important person there in Mexico. I think even all the way to like Denver. But he was a principal there at the school. But yeah, everybody said Richard Allen was the quietest person they had ever met. And that goes with the fantasy driven stuff, in my opinion. Yeah, keep them quiet. No way my family can ever find out about this. I finally snapped. Joel Rifkin says he began killing because he had become so depraved with his the things that he was doing. So I wonder if that's what was going on with Richard Allen. There has to be something in his past, something that he was doing, something that he kept secret. And maybe if he did something so bad, he could stop. Purdue, people who are suicidal are not thinking logically. See, and that's what I'm thinking here. Could be the part that I'm missing. They are surrounded by darkness and can't see any light due to a chemical imbalance in the brain. We cannot understand their pain. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal, right? All the things that we're listing as reasons why it's hard for us to understand why somebody like that could do it, are also a list of things of why this person would if he's unstable, you know, like the shame of it all. Thanks, Purdue. Thank you for that insight. Partially complied. Yeah, maybe he slipped and fell. I don't know. I just feel like he did something really bad to one of the girls and then just took off after the other one. And that's why she ran. Yeah, they took a shit ton of phones, Mustang, like 20, I think. And I know a lot of people do that. They have all these old phones. I don't know why it's that pack rat, but I have about 5 or 6 somewhere laying in my garage. So why the murder, and what was his priority in the murder? Well, I think you'd have to be a sick SOB to commit murder, especially something like this. But yeah, it's most likely, I know what you're saying, most likely sexually motivated. And they don't need to actually commit the act. They can relive it later in Fantasyland, especially with help from those trophies. It's almost like they're prepping to enjoy it later. So you wonder, did he memorialize it in some way? What's up, Jacqueline? Welcome in. Almost missed you there. All right, let's get into this article and then you guys give me your opinion. Carroll County prosecutor Nick McClellan says a press release Richard Allen's attorneys distributed in December of 2022 was just a preview of future content and blatant dishonesty shown to the court. On October 18th, 2022, Allen was charged with 2 counts of felony murder that occurred while in the commission of a felony like kidnapping, and the deaths of Abby and Libby. On March 18th, 2 additional counts of murder were added when Special Judge Frank Gohl ruled in favor of the state for amended charges against Allen. German and Williams went missing on February 13th while on a hike at the Monon High Bridge Trail. Their bodies were found the next day, not far from where they had been hiking. McClellan filed the state's memorandum in support of the contemptuous conduct on Monday, April 1st. The defense filed its response on March 25th. The deception to the court began in November of 2022 when both Brad Rosie and Andrew Baldwin told the court that a gag order was not necessary because they had no intentions to talk to the media about this case. Boy, was that a lie. McClellan wrote in the filing, within a week, both Brad Rosie and Andrew Baldwin published a press release to media outlets. Brad Rosie testified at the contempt proceedings that this was to curry favor with his client. It is clear that the press release was to curry favor with the public. I think I have that. So this is what he's referring to. You guys remember that? So Gohl was working with these guys. Gohl was working with Baldwin and Rosie. Even approved cameras in the courtroom. And then they started with all this shit because they don't plan to go to trial, guys. I'm telling you that right now. It was never in their plans. So, I mean, you guys can start at hashtag any day now. Any day now. As Richard Allen's attorneys, we have received multiple requests from local and national media for interviews and comments since the unsealing of the probable cause affidavit. It would be virtually impossible to comply with these requests and continue to focus on the merits of Rick's defense. Therefore, we offer up these thoughts. So, and that should be readily available online. Plus, we've covered it a few times in some previous videos. McClellan said the indiscretions continued with an email from Andrew Baldwin to Brandon Woodhouse. And if you guys don't know who Brandon Woodhouse is, Rosie accidentally sent him the entire discovery, everything. And then he starts putting it out on his YouTube channel. I mean, can you believe that shit? The email released information from Discovery to Woodhouse, who was not connected with the case in any way. Woodhouse then disseminated the information by putting it on the internet for the world to consume, McClellan wrote. While the content in that email may not be egregious to the court, the fact that Andrew Baldwin and Brad Rosie hid their error from the court until it was found by the state is egregious, showing yet another example of the defense deceiving the court. The filing states. The final contemptuous behavior McClellan noted was the leak of crime scene photos and other discovery protected by the gag and protective order. The state admitted screenshots of text messages between Mark Cohen and Robert Fortson, neither of which are involved in the case in any way, nor are they employees or team members of anyone involved in the case. While these screenshots are voluminous, they paint a clear picture, McClellan wrote in the filing. Robert Fortson speaks about information that is only privy to the defense. Robert Fortson talks about it within days of the defense receiving discovery from the state. So it's like the moment they hand it over, it's already leaked. Boom. Instantly. Defense is working on certain aspects of the case, and he knows about the oral interview with Professor Turco 3 days after the recorded statement is turned over to the defense. So, I mean, I don't understand how he just has access like that. The defense states that Mitch Westerman broke into their office and stole the pictures and then released them to Robert Fortson. And why did he release them to Fortson? So I feel like he was feeling pressure for some other reasons. And that might be because he knew that it was his duty to release these photos. And that could have been incriminating, I think, for the defense. For Mitch Westerman, even. It is clear from the message between Mark Cohen and Robert Fortson that Robert Fortson received the crime scene photos and other discovery from Mitch Westerman. It is also clear that Mitch Westerman was feeding Robert Fortson several other pieces of discovery all the way up until October 2, 2023. The leak was recurring. It is also clear from the text messages between Mark Cohen and Robert Fortson that the strategy to leaking the information is to gauge the public opinion of the leaked information. So I think this is the conspiracy and the pressure that he was feeling. I think this was all designed. And he felt like, oh shit, we got busted. They're going to find out that I did this on purpose to try to sway whatever public opinion. Cohen has been identified in court records as an individual who allegedly distributed the crime scene photos to podcasters. Like, this is so reckless. But I mean, you guys get the gist of that. Let's hear from you about these items that I brought up today, and then we'll finish up. I mean, that's crazy. Don't know what else to say about that. Hey, what's up, Texas Rose? Says sounds like one voice. Yeah, to me, it's same voice, different tones. One is, hey, let me get your attention. The other is, okay, now I've just grabbed your friend, maybe even hit them with the gun, and now I'm telling you to do what you need to do what I tell you. This is from Anna. When Carter said something like, they are not now experiencing how you left them in those woods. I figured he was trying to shatter the sick fantasy of the offender. And I think it could have worked. Because I think you're right. He most likely got off on that. I mean, he's not going to do what he did if it's not part of his fantasy. And if we learned anything from Keegan Klein and Rex Heuermann after reading their probable cause affidavits and their online search history, like, oh my gosh, the kind of fantasies they have are all violent. It's all torture, bruised up children. It's really bad stuff. So I'm telling you, we're going to learn a lot about Richard Allen any day now. Mark my words, guys. Yeah, I agree with that, Boston. In other countries, you have people who commit multiple murders and they get sentenced to like 20 years in prison. The hell is that all about? What's up, Melissa? Audrey says yes. Frank said he frequented. Yep. The Frank's memo said he frequented those trails. Definitely walked it like he knew it. So maybe that's why. That's why he picked that location. It was all part of his plan. I can run across this. It's like a spider web. What's up, Cryptex? Immobilizes others, but he's able to move quickly, just like a spider. Why have one girl redress? I don't know if they did redress. We don't know that. We don't know that for sure. We don't know that for sure. And we don't know the extent of the redressing, if it is true. Texas has more than one killer. I think it's very possible there's one more involved. Somebody hiding down there. That's probably what makes you lucky, Peace Train. Being grateful. All right, guys, this is going to be our 10-minute warning. Let me know what you think about what we talked about today. And if you're part of the replay crew, let me know in the comments. It's been helpful, especially you, Purdue. Help put that into perspective. Hey, Diana. Chloe says lots of sextortion going on. It looks like. Yeah, that's a theory. That's a theory that has been around for a long time. That kind of goes into the drug motivating factor as a motivating factor. Something angry Mustang. Welcome in Enlighten Me. Says, I think sexually motivated, and he's done this before many times. I agree with you. If he did do this, he planned to get away with it, and he most likely did it before. We know that this guy has traveled quite a bit. There's a lot of unsolved crimes. I agree with that for sure. Yeah, how crazy is that, CJK? All these killers just walking around that area. I mean, Garrett Kurtz is a serial killer. Pretty much. What the hell? Is that real? That's the first time I've ever heard that. Let me read this comment here. Have you watched on CJ? I think, what is it? Case closed. Julie Melvin said a hacker recorded a conversation between Richard Allen's mom and somebody talking about how Richard Allen and his dad would do stuff to his sister in the basement. That's crazy. And I always wondered why nobody was coming forward. Usually around this time, kind of similar with Kagan Klein, all these other victims came forward. But then again, we didn't learn about them until the trial, right? So maybe they are coming forward, just not publicly. And the defense isn't going to be leaking that anytime soon. But that's very interesting. It's stuff like this that will make this plea deal happen much more quickly than I expected. Any day now. I wonder if that's true. Shoot me an email if anybody has any information or a follow-up on that I can look at. That seems to be kind of like breaking news. What the hell? I wonder if there's anything to that. Yeah, that's a good point. CJK says, really, Chloe, interesting. I don't watch the CJ, nor do I trust anything Julie says, but I can imagine her saying that. Yeah. Way to put it into perspective. We'll take it with a block of salt then. Yeah, Diana. And they're still like passing around the photos. Diana says, I know how anyone thinks leaking this would be normal or good. That is compromising any case. Yeah, I understand when the case is closed and people are doing case studies and things like that later on. I kind of had a problem with the way they did it with the West Memphis 3 as well in those documentaries from HBO. But I mean, they're a dark company anyway and helped get those guys off. But yeah, and these guys are still passing around these photos. Oh, like, oh, you didn't see him yet? No, because I didn't ask for him. Oh, if you think you know anything about the case, you should look at those photos. Oh, really? Why is that? I need to see those photos to understand that Richard Allen is really the guy. I mean, help me understand that. What's up, Queen? I hope the Muppets don't show up at court. Oh, yeah, they will. Front row. Don. They'll be there. Peggy says, the defense was negligent. I'm not impressed with NM either. Oh, Nick McClelland. Well, you shouldn't be impressed by Nick McClelland. You want to know why? Because he hasn't done anything yet. He's just sitting back waiting for the trial. Everything that you've seen from the prosecution or the prosecutor is in response to all the pretrial stuff. That's not his ballpark. He's sitting back waiting for the trial. He understands the burden of proof to prove that Richard Allen is guilty falls right on his shoulders. He knows that. So he's just waiting. You know, that's like running up to a basketball player who's in a 3-piece suit getting off of his tour bus and then having somebody roll a basketball hoop up behind him and then you slam dunk on top of him when he's not expecting it and saying, "Oh, you just got fucked up." Well, the dude's not even in the arena yet. You know, let him put his uniform on, his sneakers, let him warm up a little bit. And then when they blow the whistle, boom. Then you can judge him. But you're trying to beat him up out in the parking lot and saying, "Oh, you got your ass kicked, dude." Yeah, it feeds into their ego too, Charlotte. Like, I knew it. I knew it was that Brad Holder guy. Crime scene looks like it was made by a psychotic person. Could be proved Richard Allen has intermittent psychosis. Maybe they will try for an insanity. I can't remember. I had some notes about why it was too late for that. There's reasons why they didn't choose to go that route. Have to find those notes or try to figure out where I was with that. But for some reason, I remember thinking that that ship has sailed, and there was a reason that they're not doing that. I just lost it. We'll come back to that. Let's go to Sparky. Suicide is sometimes not because of a chemical imbalance, but could also be due to not wanting to accept reality of life-changing things. So I don't know if it definitely wasn't him being triggered by the photos themselves. I think there was some type of a conspiracy to leak the photos, and there was some kind of a shame or something that couldn't be faced. And most likely because of a chemical imbalance, it seemed overwhelming to a point that doesn't make sense to us. That's the way I see it. Hey, what's up? True Crime, Microwave, and Baby Doll. Good to see you guys. Alrighty, we are all caught up on the chat. So let's see. It's going to do it, guys. If there's anything else you need to get a hold of me right away, shoot me an email, sleuthintuition@gmail.com. It's me says, but yes, McClellan screwed up on that. I don't think he screwed up on anything. He hasn't even put his sneakers on yet. It's not game time. He's still in the club. He's in the locker room still, getting yelled at by the coach. Thank you, Purdue. I appreciate your comments today. They seem to have the most impact. Appreciate that. Let's give a shout out to D. Ashley for flexing that 22-month. It's a me hooking it, gifting somebody with the membership. Thank you. And also donating with the super chat. Charlotte, thank you for participating. All right, guys, I'm out. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you again real soon. Peace.